Look at the sunrise back here. It's kind of a late sunrise. It's not early. I'm on a piece of public ground. I've never hunted the state before. So I was on a little vacation with my wife, visiting some family. And I figured I'd take a day and hit some public that I looked at on the map before. I had a friend of mine tell me about a while back, so I was only about 2.5 hours away or so. I figured I'd come out here and check it out. So I'm gonna bring you guys along and do a little scouting. Kind of spend the day out here on this piece and maybe a couple of pieces. I don't know. We'll just see how much time we get into. And I got a couple pins dropped, and I'm gonna take you and we'll have a day of scouting. Isn't that beautiful? That's amazing. That's worth coming out here, just right there. Well, I just told y'all what I was doing, and I'm just filming with my phone and a GoPro today. I didn't bring my big camera because I plan on walking pretty much all day and looking. And it's pretty warm. It's summertime, although it's not bad right now because it's overcast and in the morning. But I topped this hill. Plan is to hit this creek bottom and go down in there, and that creek forks, and it goes on the edge of private. And there's a timber edge right there, and there's a bowl right there that's kind of like a little thermal hub that I wanted to check out, like a good spot. And I topped this hill, and there was two velvet bucks. One ran. I didn't get him on camera. The other one was kind of standing there looking at me. The one that ran was bigger, like a shooter buck actually. And I tell you, I topped this hill and I was looking and I didn't even see him. He was kind of behind a tree right there, but that was pretty cool. So I hadn't even really. I'm probably about 200 yards from the truck. I hadn't even got in here yet. I'm gonna continue on down in here and see if I can fall off in this little old creek or drainage. I think it's just a drainage actually, and follow it down and get into where that creek forks and where that timber edge is. A little bit of a transition line right there. See what's going on. This is a big ridge right here with a timber edge, the opposite side of that timber edge, and that creek's going to fall off right in there. And that's where I want to be, is back in this timber where that creek falls off. Two bucks were right in there. Pretty cool. Let's get down in here and see what we can find. This seems to be the majority of the terrain is just rocky and kind of rolling hills and post oaks. Not really mature post oaks. Decent size though, big enough to hunt in. I mean, obviously they got some acorns on them. Seen a few tracks already. Just nothing but post oaks, all on these ridges that falls off into these little drainages and creeks. So right here is where this little creek starts. It's pretty rocky, but it's the head of it. I keep saying creek. It's a drain, and it drops down, and it's pretty steep. And there's a lot of tracks skirting the edge of this. It drops off right there, and this may would be a good place. I seen a couple of trails crossing, but nothing that really got me excited. I wouldn't call this a good place. I wouldn't call it a bad place, but it is a funnel that funnels them just around this way, around where this drops off into this drainage right here. And you got a few hundred yards from here up to that ridge where I saw those bucks. But right here, we got some droppings right here, and this could have been a scrape. I'm not sure. It looks like it, but it doesn't look like it was worth a whole lot if it was. Got a branch right here. It could be a licking branch. It's not real high. Got one right here, but it doesn't look like a a heavy used one. I'm gonna continue on down this creek. Boy, it's rocky through here. I've been following this little drain, working my way down to this main one. I got right here, I can hear water. Must be a natural spring, because there hadn't been any water in this ditch. And that's one thing I was wondering about, if it was going to be water down here where these little drains meet, if it was a little branch or a small creek or something. But hadn't seen a whole lot of sign. A few tracks. Seen a coyote. Haven't really seen any rubs or any scrapes yet though, but it's real rocky in here. Onward. Just a spring coming out right here and draining down. There's going to be water down here in this main creek. We ought to find some sign down in there. Getting back in here to where I want to be now. I dropped off in this creek, and now you can see how this bottom's flattened out. There's a lot of vegetation in here. A little thicker, maybe I can find some bedding or thicket. That's kind of what I'm really wanting to find once I get up to the edge of this timber, is hopefully some bedding or some thicker stuff. There's some areas in here that's kind of thick, like Midwest thick, I guess you would say. Not really Louisiana or South Mississippi thick. But where I'm wanting to go is, I think it's about 7 or 8 tenths of a mile from that road. So it's not terribly far, but it's not terribly close. But I'm getting to where I want to be. Hopefully I can get into something. There's a pretty good deer trail right here that I've been following. That just runs back and forth right here. Right along this drainage. I'm going to just ease on down. You can tell there's some fawn tracks around this water hole right here. A few deer tracks, so there may be some water right on up here in this ditch. And you can see where they've been coming down this bluff right here. There she goes, right out that way. There's 2 or 3 does jumped up. I don't know if you can see, there's one right there. She's standing there looking at me. Alright, so here's the second spot I wanted to look at. Follow that main branch of this creek back, and it actually borders the property line. So basically, what we got on my side right here is this creek. Not a huge creek, pretty decent little creek. And then you got a fence line, which is a property line. And then you got a drain that comes off of it. It kind of forks back, and that's where I was in that flat where I jumped those does. And then right here is a high ridge right here. Okay, but here's the good thing. This creek right here goes and it makes a big oxbow right here and comes back out close to the public. And deer are bad to cut those oxbows when they're traveling these creeks during the rut looking for does. So this sets up pretty good with the deer traveling this property line, cutting that oxbow coming around this ridge right here, or cutting the top of that ridge, which I need to go look at, and checking this flat in here for a bed of does. So this whole area right here sets up pretty good. I'm going to walk it a little bit. I see a good bit of sign on this fence row right here. Find some sign, kind of think about wind direction and access, but this is a point, this is a spot to drop a pin on. You got a thermal hub behind me, a high ridge right here, and you got an oxbow right here in this creek. You got several little things that sets up right here, and it's got to be a good spot. I mean, you got oaks on this ridge, you got oaks up and down this creek. It's not too open. There's vegetation that got good cover, especially along the side of this creek. So I would be shocked if this wasn't a good spot during the rut. I mean, there's deer sign here now. I'm gonna walk this oxbow and check it out. This is a good spot. Dropping a pin. Don't know if I'll hunt here this year. Don't plan on hunting this state this year. But who knows? It's a spot to put in my pocket for another year. Or if I got time this year, who knows? Good spot. Drop a pin. That's how you do it. One thing I forgot to mention, as I'm fixing to walk this oxbow up, and I can't walk the oxbow into the oxbow because it's private, but I'm just going to walk the border of this oxbow and follow the main travel route of the creek. But anyway, what I'm getting at is on up here, there's another fork in this creek with a big wide area on the bottom with some heavy vegetation. Looks pretty thick. I'm gonna check that out, and it's not very far from this other one right here. So you've got a thermal hub right here with some ridges that come together. You got a spring that comes out of there flowing into that bottom of that thermal hub with that heavy vegetation where those does were bedded. Come back this way, you got an oxbow in this creek right here, big ridge on the back, and right ahead of me you got another thermal hub. Probably gonna be does in that area also. Just sets up great. Let's go check it out. Walk right up on a spotted fawn, bedded right there. Fawn's around here somewhere. Couldn't get my phone out and get the camera on before she was out of sight. Just about stepped on her. This is that second area. Doesn't look as good as I thought it was. It's pretty open in here. You can see it's just not as high a vegetation that I thought it would be. Not a bad spot, but not quite as good as I thought it would be. This is another spot that sets up good. It's another hub where several ridges dump off in a bottom right here. And right behind me, I'm assuming this water is coming out of the ground right up here, and it's just draining down. And there's a hole of water right here, pretty decent hole. And right here in this bottom part, there's two heavy trails that come right down here, and one that goes right around this drainage that comes out here. And then there's one right here that I'm standing on that comes from this water straight up this drainage here that I'm about to walk. What I wanted to do was walk this drainage and see if I could find a crossing, because it is a drain that drains down into this main creek right here. There's a little water in this creek, but not much. So what I'm saying is this could be a good potential spot if it's dry and if there's not a lot of water. Looks like there's probably water here most of the time. And there's a bunch of ridges that dump off right here, and some pretty good red oaks and stuff right here too. So this could be a good spot to come and check out. So this is that drain that I walked up. Well, not far from where it met the main drainage, it turns into a high bluff, and it goes several hundred yards. And as you can see, but it is very steep and high. It's probably 30, maybe 40 foot high in some areas. But it plays out right here. So a deer that's traveling up and down this main creek, he's either going to cross down there where this plays out into that main creek where that water hole is, or up this way where this bluff gets a little more of an angle to it, where it's not such a steep grade. It's not really a bluff gap, but it's just a funnel to where this bluff plays out. And a deer that's traveling this way, perpendicular to that main creek, traveling these ridges, is either going to cross, more than likely right here, within the next 100 yards or so of this bluff, or on the other side of this bluff where it plays out into that main creek. So I'm going to drop a pin right here. This is a good spot, especially for rut hunting, that I think may be productive. There's several of these crossings right here. You can see this trail right here. It comes down, and they're crossing this drainage right here, going up that bank there, going up that drain there, and there's a little ridge here with the second drain right here. This is a good spot. This is just a natural travel corridor, a natural funnel, because this bluff goes for several hundred yards this way, and that main creek parallels this way right here, and this is a drain that's draining off of that creek, and they can't cross unless they dive off of that bluff. They can't cross up there. They've got to cross from about where my finger's at right here through here, and this is the easiest route. This is the route of less resistance for them to cross, coming off of any of these ridges and just traveling this whole area. This is a really good spot. It's not really thick is the only thing. So I don't know how pressured these deer are in this area either. It's pretty open right here for a mature deer. Now, if he's behind a doe during a rut, that's a totally different story. Or if he's cruising, this would be a great spot for pre-rut for cruising bucks. It is a little open. Still think it'd be a good spot. I'm gonna walk this range on up and see what it looks like up that way. So, walked up the ridge from where I was just talking to you at, and sure enough, scrape. Last year's scrape. Pretty sure this might have been another one right here. One here for sure. Licking branch. Right here. I'm sure if I look around I'll find some more. This is a good spot. Figured there would be some scrapes up on this ridge, because there's got to be does coming through here. There's another little bluff where this drainage turns back right here. So, surprised I haven't found any good rubs right here, but I'm sure there's some somewhere if I looked hard enough. It's a good spot. It's pretty thick up on top of this ridge. A little open right here, pretty thick up on top of this ridge. Can't see the top of that one, but it looks the same as this one pretty much on the map. So, did I drop a pin here? You bet your babies. Another deer right there. I don't know what it was. Oh. Maybe I should drop a pin here. Jump 2 or 3 does. Found a shed. Alright, this is the top of a ridge right here. This is kind of a narrow ridge of timber, and it kind of falls off into a bottom right here, and it's got a lot of sumac in it, and it's pretty thick in this bottom, so I'm really liking it. Up here this ridge kind of pinches down a little bit and look like a good spot, but I'm working my way through here. There's another This little drain in here comes up here and forks about 3 ways, and it's another hub that I want to check out. But I wanted to walk this ridge because it's really long, and just see what I could find along the way. I found some sign, and I found this thicket, and I've noticed up here on the map it's really hard to kind of find the thickets by looking at the maps. You just about got to get out and walk and find this sumac and other stuff. So it's about 1:30, I think. It's hot. I moved a couple of miles to check this spot out. When I got out of the car, it said 96. But it's not too bad in the shade. It's definitely not Louisiana hot, I'll tell you that. It's bearable. I could walk all day in this. In Louisiana, it'd be tough to do right now. Anyway, I'm gonna make my way on down here. I like this spot. It's looking good. I've seen quite a few deer in here. Several, I couldn't film. I jumped up and they ran or whatever. So there's, I don't know how heavy the population is here. It's hard to see sign in here because it's so rocky. And it's pretty dry right now too. Anyway, looking pretty good. Look at the beds. Here, there. It's here, here. These does been bedding here pretty regular. All these beds, I just jumped one right there. It ran off that way. I believe it was a doe. Like a little secluded opening back here. All this sumac around it, and some timber and a little timber ridge right here with CRP on the top. This is a good spot here too. A lot of beds right here. I don't know how many there is. There's probably about 8 or 10 at least. Must be a family of does, a group of does bedding around here pretty consistently. These beds around this tree right here. I'm really liking this area. It's just a slow rising ridge. All these oaks in here. And look at this sumac over here, just thicket right here. 2 ridges just kind of fork right here. And all this prairie grass is pretty high. I think that's more sumac or primrose or something up there. Man, this looks good, really good. I think this might be one of the best areas I found today. I mean, I haven't found any buck sign, but I really haven't seen a lot of buck sign on this place. Undoubtedly, they got some good bucks here. But I've killed some bucks in places where there was no buck sign many times. So I'm not that concerned about it. Well, I'm back in the car, headed out. Hope you enjoyed it. It was a good day of scouting. Like I said, I had a day. I came to this state to visit some family, and I had a day to just come up here and do some scouting on a piece of public that I've kind of had marked. A friend of mine had told me about it a while back, and I hadn't been up here to check it out, so I figured I'd spend a little time. Found some good spots. This place sets up sort of like a big woods kind of scenario. Hilly, a lot of small timber on it and some big timber. There's no ag on it. It's pretty rocky. I think they'd run some cattle on it every now and then. I saw some cattle sign and some hog sign. So, but I did see 2 rack bucks and a couple of spikes in velvet, and I don't know, probably 8 or 10, 12 does, something like that, and fawns. So I didn't see a lot of buck sign, a few scrapes, but I found some good cover. One of the main things I was looking for was some pinches and some funnels in it. I'll probably come back here at some point. I don't know if it'll be this year, but if I do, I got some places to go. I'm not just coming in blind. At least I got some starting points. So anyway, just thought I'd make a video and bring you guys along and kind of show you what I look for while I'm scouting and how I do it. An area like this, you just pick the best spots you can find on the map and then just hit the ground walking and walk a lot. I put a lot of miles down today. Hopefully we'll maybe do some more scouting before season gets here. Thanks for watching, guys.